We start with a giant cosmic gas cloud, but not the giant cosmic gas cloud that gave the fantarded 4 fantastical powers in the last movie, gobbling up an entire planet. As some sort of silver streak makes its way to Earth and freezes the waters of Japan and also brings a bit of snow to the deserts of Egypt.
Weird.
Then we catch up with the aforementioned 4, what are totally fantastic, flying out for Reed's wedding to Jessica Alba, aka Sue Storm, whilst Reed himself is distracted by all the weird anomalies going on around the world, like the ice in Egypt and whatever that weird floating cloud city thing was in China a few years back.
What?
And Sue totally bollocks him for preferring to do science rather than focus on his wedding to her, whilst Johnny takes his reluctant stretchy mate out for a midnight boogie for his bachelor party, where he soon goes full dad cringe and uses his spaghetti powers to bring a whole new meaning to getting loosened up. Meanwhile, the silver streak flies over a weird isolated Latvian castle where that naughty Dr. Victor Von Doom fella was being stored after being frozen solid in the previous flick. Anyway, the chocolate bloke out of Brooklyn Nine-Nine then turns up as some sort of no-nonsense army captain called General Hager, who tells them all about how these worldwide anomalies going on stem from the weird silver streak thing what keeps flying around willy-nilly and with no respect for international airspace. And worse, this thing must be some sort of weirdo space dog, given it keeps digging giant fuck-off holes all around the globe for shits and giggles. But Reed just says, stop waffling on about silver space canines digging 200-metre holes in countries I ain't ever heard of, because I'm getting hitched on Saturday, and I ain't making any custom contraption for you lot to help track it. So take your goons and super hot model lieutenants back to your base, and shut up about it already. And after said super hot model lieutenant totally rebuffs Johnny's lame attempts to chat her up, Reed promises his focus is all on his fiancée from now on, despite immediately starting work on the military tracking sensor Hager wanted him to make behind her back. And before you can say, I don't think telling a pack of lies before you've even exchanged vows is remotely conducive to a healthy long-lasting marriage, and believe me, I know, given my ex says she was a virgin but then gave birth to 5 black sprogs on our honeymoon night. Gah, she says she was just bloated from all the Taco Bell over the past few months.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Anyway, Sue starts to have doubts of her own, and worries that living such a public life as full-blown superheroes under constant scrutiny and media gossip probably ain't the basis for a long-lasting healthy marriage, nor a remotely appropriate environment to raise future kids in, and then rather insensitively tells her ethnic friend who's infected with blindness that she can't really see a way out.
Hate crime!
So Alicia just says, stop moaning about first world problems, bitch face, and go marry that handsome Welshman with a terrible accent who totally sucks at science and also turned you all into mutant carnival freaks already.
Standard.
Said handsome Welshman, who looks like he's just come out of a coma and having to learn how to move his jaw again trying to speak with a Yankee twang, then activates his brand new tracking sensor, as newly awakened and horrifically disfigured Dr. Wimke von der Leyen hacks into a satellite and tracks the silver streak thing himself in real time. And before Reed and Sue can finish their vows, some sort of weirdo sky surfer dressed in silver turns up and rudely ruins their special day, leading to a chopper crashing into their venue and a giant rock monster getting a close shave whilst protecting a small ethnic lady with broken eyes from totally getting made into mincemeat. Lol, don't you just hate it when that happens? And Reed promptly tells Johnny to shut up, moaning about how he's going to have to destroy a super expensive and snazzy Dolce suit, and to get on with doing what he does best by being super hot and getting on after him already. Which he totally does, and after chasing the silver show off around for a bit and marvelling at his wicked surfing tricks, Jolly's taken up into orbit and totally snuffed out like a pussy old candle wick.
You're not that guy, pal, trust me, you're not that guy.
Whilst the surfer then calls up his boss to tell him that the planet he's now found seems like a right tasty snack.
Nice.
Naturally, the military chap's unamused that his crack team of Earth's mightiest heroes just got mugged off by literal surfer bro, before Sue throws another hissy fit after wasting all that time and money on a wedding ceremony that totally went tits up before they could even get to the buffet and have some of those little sausage things on cocktail sticks. And how can they ever raise a family if they can't even have one day without almost getting killed by rogue choppers knocked out of the sky by weird alien space freaks?
So good for you, girl. Go on.
Later, she witnesses her little bro fall out of the sky and soon ends up in flames herself when she touches Johnny and totally switches powers with him. And Stretchy McStretchface just can't believe his fiancee's literally living up to a description in multiple tabloid magazines. Because although he always knew she was smoking hot, this is just taking the piss, son.
LOL!
And after Johnny taps her yet again, the poor girl ends up butt-ass naked in the middle of the street, also yet again. And given this is at least like the third time this has happened since they gained their powers in the last film, the entire bloody city has probably seen her flange more often than they've seen the local mayor or a yellow cab. But at least her god-awful wig emerged unscathed somehow because reasons.
Yay?
Later, Reed reveals that Johnny's encounter with the local surfer bro has somehow affected his molecules, also because reasons. And Ben then proves how serious it all is by giving him a taste of his super eczema.
We just said this is serious!
Ben, stop it!
Starting to see why you like that. Ha! Ah, crap.
That's not funny.
And before you can say, why didn't Johnny's voice deepen too when he changed into a living boulder?
Come on!
A humiliated Sue has another moan after the news won't shut up about how she got publicly nude and totally exposed her flaps in the middle of LA, and it wasn't even Pride Month yet.
Go on, you dirty scat.
So Reed says they'll run away, just the two of them, and totally live like bog standard normies with new identities. And we can get started right now if you just take that terrible wig off, girl. But unfortunately, Johnny Boy overhears their secret plans and naturally feels totally betrayed. Because they're meant to be a team, yo. The fantastically retarded four or some shit. Whilst elsewhere, Dr. Vic Claude Van Damme totally confronts a naked nude surfer dude, but just gets smacked through a damn mountain, where he's able to absorb his magical powers and totally heal himself, as Reed bursts into the Fantastic Tard HQ and promptly revealed that he's made a shocking discovery. And he don't just mean how he's made a killing on OnlyFans this week by making funny animal shapes out of his super stretchy schlong, but rather, everywhere this surfer dude goes, the planets he contacts get deaded a week later. Just like that well girl what does the same thing whenever you watch a special videotape or some shit. And worse, he's now heading to London to dig some more holes and stuff.
Oh shit, not good.
So on the way over, Johnny passively aggressively bollocks his teammates for secretly planning to abandon him to live secret lives and leaving him and Ben to soak up the glory solo, despite us in the audience thinking that would surely be his ultimate dream from the way he soaks up the limelight. And after fucking up the team's attempt to save London from failing infrastructure and years of chronic underfunding, Johnny gets humbled bigly for being a reckless and emotionally incompetent literal hothead, as the team of visiting Americans just can't believe how big the potholes are now in Sadiq Khan's London, nor can they believe that General Hager has brought in Dr. Wagner Van Dingle, given these muppets couldn't even fix a frigging wheel. Naturally, they reckon he's making a mistake, trusting a known liar and bona fide wronger with a track record of constant betrayal and attempted naughty murder killings. But given he's made contact with a silver space freak and totally recorded it, they reluctantly agree to forget about that time he tried to flat out annihilate them all one by one, as they instead focus on how the super homo surfer bro seems to generate his powers from the bald he's always hogging. And so if they can maybe separate the two, they may have a chance to have a go on it themselves or some shit. Reed then gets busy designing some BS science shit to totally deliver a tachyon pulse that'll separate him from his bald, while Sue walks in on her ex-lover and attempted murderer killer doing suspicious shit in a dark corner, who insists I ain't doing nothing or nothing, bro. And I ain't going to be lectured to by some floozy skank in a bad wig or keeps flashing her muff in public, because at least Lily Phillips charges to flash the goods.
Yes, queen, slay!
Later, they encounter the shiny surfer, who promptly takes her shine to that nudie naked lady he keeps seeing get a rat out on the news and various social media gossip sites, and says he has no choice but to mark their planet for destruction, because his boss gets super hangry, yo. And if he don't go find some grub every few weeks, then his own home planet will be next up on the menu.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Anyway, the gung-ho military chiefs decide they've had enough of all this gay shit and try to blast him out of the sky with a giant fuck-off rocket. But Surfer Boy just takes a massive phallic explosive shaft into his undercarriage like it's a standard Tuesday morning in San Francisco.
Why are you gay?
But luckily, Reed activates the pulse and makes him lose his bald and also his powers. And now holed away in an underground base over in Siberia, bleeding heart libtard Susan Storm just can't bear to see an illegal alien immigrant locked up by overzealous military goons under the Bush administration, and soon worries we might have a Gitmo Mark II on our hands.
Nah, it'll be fine.
So she sneaks in to ask him all about his tragic backstory already, before top brass start getting their own bald out, but this time it's of the illegal water kind.
Hey, that's fucked up.
Anyway, turns out his name is Noreen Rad, who once had a girlfriend but had a wig as bad as hers, and after going full Teletubby and showing her all about his boss called Galactus on his Teletummy TV, they do a bit of bonding, where he starts to see a different side to humans other than the constant violence, bigotry and totally rude attempts to blow him off his bald what he's experienced up to now. Meanwhile, naughty arch nemesis and constant betrayer Dr. Vape Chad Von Doe is taken over to see the surfers bald, wearing a shocking twist what no one could ever see coming. He immediately ditches his guards and steals the board for himself, as said board soon swaps one chrome tard for another, and he instantly decimates the useless General Hager and probably gets the heck out of Dodge.
Wow.
The gang then free the Norrin fella to totally reunite him with his board. Now he's kind of sort of come around to saving humanity. Well, given his floozy back home, kind of looks like mid-noughties Jessica Alba too. And the group soon jump into their new souped up ride to catch up to Dr. Vic Diesel von Boom already. And once they do, he don't seem to give a stuff that a giant alien carnivorous murder cloud is going to destroy the Earth any minute now, even though that's where Dr. Victor von Drag Race himself lives. But they just end up once again smashing up even more of the city in their epic battle to defeat the local hoodie with a stupid name, and soon cost the taxpayer the maximum amount in infrastructure repair fees. As Sue then escalates her pattern of public indecency by taking a stiff and solid shaft to her chest, and illegally getting penetrated in the street, but not in a fun way. Lame. Naturally, Reed is totally heartbroken over the death of his saucy floozy wife, what he had not a single shred of chemistry with, and doesn't even care that Galactus fella has now arrived and is minutes away from making them all his lunch. As the surfer just watches all this nonsense go down, and presumably just wonders how humans can cry without shedding a single physical tear. And before you can say, well, that's just the sheer strength of a Welshman's acting range and general calibre of performance in pre-MCU Marvel movies, Johnny puts his new unstable molecules to good use and promptly absorbs all his teammates' power sets, eventually smacking up Dr. Verhoover Van Dinkelrod and reconnecting Norrin with his board, who's now had enough of being some nebulous gimp boy and also of Jessica Alba's terrible dead acting. So promptly resurrects her somehow and then goes and kills his own boss also somehow.
Boring. Sloppy. Lazy.
Now with his molecules back to normal, Johnny promptly hugs his undead zombie sister as the team all then agree to stay together and totally embrace their weird public lives, before doing a bit of cultural appropriation whilst trying to get hitched for a second time in Japan, and ending with the team using their fantastic hard car's insane carbon emissions to totally draw a pointless emblem in the sky and flat out shamelessly polluting the skies of the host country they're guests in.
How dare you!
And that's it. That's the movie. Though my favourite part, well aside from Stan Lee thankfully avoiding death by chopper by being refused entry into the wedding to begin with, was when Reed used his powers of limb elongation to rudely and rather selfishly put his bag in the overhead locker across the plane aisle, whilst the female passenger just looks around confused and bemused. That's right, lady, who could it possibly be? Certainly not one of the 4 mutant celebrities on the jet known for having super stretchy powers and who instantly looks super guilty the minute you make eye contact with him.
I'm retarded?
And as an aside, has Johnny really bought a ticket and waited a plane seat just to obnoxiously chat shit for as long as possible and always planned to fly the whole way outside Ben's window just to annoy the prick anyway? Like, what if the trip is an 8-hour fly? And what if it frigging rains? Oh, whatevs. It's mid-noughties Marvel, so screw thinking and shit. But anyway, that's the plot and that's your lot. Considering that bell thing so you don't miss any future recaps. Tell me if you like this flick in the comments if you have time, and I'll separate a surfer from his board with an intense shredding sound, and mainly by singing Rebecca Black's Friday, gotta get down on Friday through a giant fuck off megaphone on the beach for shits and giggles with you in the next one.